Hello and welcome.
Hi, everybody.
My name is Robert Fong, and sitting across from me is Charlie Schmidt.
How you doing?
And we like movies.
We like movies, and we're nerds.
Yeah.
I like movies.
Geeks and nerds.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Deadpool 2, Infinity War, and we're going to speculate on Han Solo, a solo story? How does that go? Yeah, that's the one. Solo, a Han Solo story.
These three are like the holy trinity for nerds in the last month.
It is becoming a big summer already.
Yeah.
We've had all of these, and then we aren't even close to getting Ant-Man and the Wasp yet. We'll get that too. So it's still rolling.
Mm-hmm. Jurassic Park, Jurassic World is
Jurassic World. God, it's all coming out.
Yeah.
And not a nerdy, I guess it would be considered a nerdy movie, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to go see that.
That sounded wrong.
Yes, it
but
did.
I am a big fan. There's big controversy with that, too.
Really, what?
Somebody wrote a letter saying they're upset that the trailer did not portray him for his sexuality. They said they're trying to sweep that under the rug. That's way political coming out of the gate. We don't need to talk about that.
No, we don't. Well, we'll talk about that when we go see that movie.
That's right.
I know we will. But, yeah, Deadpool 2, that's a thing.
Deadpool 2, and you and I have not talked about how we feel about this movie.
We have not, and we did go to 2 separate screenings of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you go? Did you go on opening night?
We went the Saturday night of opening weekend.
Because I went Friday morning.
Okay. Was there anybody there?
It was probably about 85-90% full in the theater that I was at. So it was pretty good for it was 10 o'clock in the morning, so it was full already. So that's how you can tell that they already got their budget back and more.
Oh, for sure.
For it. But did anything strange happen at your theater? And this is the non-spoiler section of
we're not going to talk about
Deadpool. We're just kind of going, theater-going experience and general impressions of it.
Yeah. Anything weird in the theater?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like it was a pretty tame audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went to an IMAX. I think everyone bought in. I think the lady next to us was having a fight with her biker boyfriend. That was about as intense as it got. Yeah.
When I went, there were 2 kids in the theater that I was at. Were there any kids in your theater?
Yes. Yeah, there were some children, yeah.
What is it with people? This kid was like 10 years old, like 2 seats away from me. And there was a girl who was probably about 12 or something like that. This little boy, there is, not spoilers, but there's this part where Deadpool gets really messed up. He falls on top of a table, breaks his back, breaks his neck. He looks like he's dead. This little kid is bouncing up, just manic, ha 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 ha, ha laughing at it and everything. I was like, oh, everything's funny in this movie except for probably that.
That kid's gonna grow up to be a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's gonna be.
Good job, parents. But what do I know? Don't listen to me for parenting advice because I don't have kids.
Well, and that being said, the kids that saw it, I think Deadpool 2 was way more violent than the first Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
In a great way. Yes. I appreciate how violent it was.
It's you could definitely tell the budget was about twice as much for this one as it was for Deadpool 1.
Yeah.
And it really did show through it. But it was good in the sense that like you said, I would give it probably a B minus, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I would go for the minus as well.
It's not really a movie that I would want to go back and see because I went to go see Infinity War again today, right before recording this. Mm-hmm. And I was like, should I go see Deadpool again? So it's like fresh in my mind. And I was like, nah. And I was like, I don't really need to see it again. But it's good. Not something that I'm going to spend a whole lot of time thinking about or anything.
Yeah, because Deadpool 1 was fun. The story was fun.
Yeah.
It was a revenge tale. It was an origin tale. This was, it was fun because of all the surprises and the Easter eggs.
Yeah, lots of Easter eggs.
Back into it, I don't think it would be as much fun already knowing all those things, all the surprise cameos.
Yeah. The surprise cameos were fantastic too.
And the story is way stripped down to more of a personal story than a giant epic one that ends with a fight on a helicarrier.
Yeah, and that's a big complaint that a lot of people have about most Marvel movies is it ends up with the big CGI slugfest and everything at the end, like in Infinity Wars. But this one was just one dude and a cast of like 10 people or something like that going to go do some stuff, which is fun.
Yeah, the final set piece was really small.
Tiny. Yeah. It was like, Cable, Deadpool... Yeah, so probably about 5 people involved in the last scene.
In just a building. It wasn't, tipping over a helicarrier, dodging stuff, things blowing up. It wasn't that big. But it was still satisfying, I think.
Yes, it was. It was definitely worth a watch and the money and everything like that. So I'd give it 2 thumbs up. Or how many avocados having sex with other uglier avocados would you give this?
5, I guess.
5?
5 ugly avocados having sex. What is that?
And don't you remember T.J. Miller's joke from the first one?
Yes,
that one.
Yes.
So I'd give it like 37 and a half avocados out of a possible 10. It's good.
It's T.J. Miller's part in that movie is weird.
In the second one or the first one?
In the second one. I feel like he didn't have a place, but they just put him in there.
And they made jokes about it, too. I guess we'll just get into spoilers now, and we'll just talk about T.J. Miller really quick. And I think T.J. Miller's from Colorado.
Yeah, he's a Denver boy, like we are. Woo! So this is spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, get your ass to the movie theater and see Deadpool 2 for God's sake.
Honestly, everybody else has seen it. Why haven't you?
Yeah, why are you listening to this podcast if you haven't seen this movie yet? Yeah, he felt like he was very forced into the movie. And he just didn't move the plot forward.
No.
At all.
He did just kind of disappear altogether after that point where Cable... It was after the baby legs. So
right.
He was just gone after that. Yeah, that was a good scene
too. Best part. Yeah, he just... showed up for no reason, and any conversation at the bar didn't need to happen.
Yeah, and because did he have to be there in the first one either? He was just kind of like, hey, I got a buddy who does stand-up comedy. We'll put him in here. Yeah. So he does seem like the kind of guy that like Ryan Reynolds knew him and was like, yeah, be in this movie or something like that. I need this character for some exposition.
Right.
But. So, at the beginning of the movie, let's just talk about Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool's ongoing war against Wolverine.
Yes.
That's the whole entirety of the first scene is them making fun of Logan and how he died at the end. Spoilers for that one.
Right.
But how Logan died at the end of Logan.
Yeah.
And he has a little action figure of Logan that he basically says, fuck Logan, I'm gonna die in this one too. Yeah. You stole our thunder and everything because we were the first R-rated comic book movie and then you messed us over. Which totally, I think that like both of these movies, Deadpool and Logan being R-rated movies, work on different levels. I am glad it's not just like 2 of the same thing. Because if they were both in the same competing genre of like comedy or super serious or something like that, it would be
It'd have been fun to see a section in Deadpool where they switched to that format, like really intense filters and really intense drama. Because Logan was so spaghetti western. Like, it would have been funny if they just did that for like 2 minutes just to make fun of it. But I was shocked that Hugh Jackman wasn't in the movie. I thought he was going to have a cameo.
I thought he would have been a real cameo. That would have been the one that, like, and I'm sure he would have been down or whatever. But, like, I mean, gosh, that is a missed thing. Yeah,
the easy low-hanging fruit, I guess, that everyone expected him, and he didn't. The end scene's credit. That was great.
And the opening credits were great too. All the stuff like in the first one when they had Deadpool, all the drawings and everything like that. And I think in this one, the opening credit said that it was directed by one of the guys who killed the dog in John Wick.
That was great. And they said they're coming out with they shot an extended scene where Deadpool pulls a Groundhog Day and he tries to kill himself, commit suicide in a bunch of
Over
different
and
ways,
over
and he just
again.
can't do it.
Well, there's the Blu-ray for you.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I liked the movie, but it wasn't better than the first one.
Yeah, what did you think about how it kind of felt like it was a sort of a carbon copy-esque of the same Deadpool 1 formula? You basically had a scene, and then you had flashback, and then you go back to that scene, and then we go back to it.
It's kind of sad because at first I wanted to criticize the movie for copying bits from the first movie.
Yeah.
But then when I think back on the movie, all my favorite parts were the bits from the first movie. Like the baby legs.
All the callbacks and everything.
Yeah.
That was a long scene, too. The baby leg scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's after, well, there you go. Juggernaut rips him in half. That was another point. So, anyways, little kid next to me, 10 years old, is laughing maniacally at 2 points. Deadpool, he fights Cable, and then Cable throws him on a table and everything, like jacks him up. And then Juggernaut, who is in the big bad in this movie, rips Deadpool in half. As soon as that happens, right, that gets a chuckle out of a couple people. But then the kid next to me is laughing maniacally again. I'm like, oh man, he's just like a Fire Fist in this one. He's gonna turn and grow up to be like crazy dude. And
Josh Brolin's gonna show up just to kill that kid
in the movie
theater while you're watching it.
But
that's hilarious.
It is interesting because of how long it feels like we had trailers for this movie.
Yeah.
Because that first trailer that came out when he's like in the phone booth trying to put on his costume and the guy gets killed in the alley, that felt like it was like 2 years ago
that
or
was
something.
In front of Logan, right?
Yeah.
That's the first time we saw that.
Yeah, so that was a whole year ago.
Which was it? I mean, nothing about that was related to the movie.
No, not at all.
It was just like, hey, remember, we're coming.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to kind of go like sequentially through the movie?
I mean, we can. The biggest thing we haven't addressed is that all the trailers and all the commercials are like, you are getting an X-Force movie. And then that's my favorite thing about the movie is that they blatantly lied to us and they killed those sons of bitches
in a glorious fashion.
Yes.
I love Peter too. He's fantastic.
You know what? I was disappointed. I thought he was going to be a bigger
have a bigger part.
But everything about Peter is in the commercial.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer. But I'm glad that he saved him at the end.
Yeah, he went back to the post-credit scenes.
But just killing Skarsgård, Terry Crews. Mm-hmm. They actually got names of Phillies. And I read somewhere that they were actually going to put character posters. They were going to make character posters for all of them.
That's great.
And they're literally in the movie for what, 8 minutes?
8 minutes,
yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So, basic plot of Deadpool 2. Deadpool is trying to kill himself at the very beginning. That's the whole Logan thing. He's like, I'm going to kill myself in this movie too. Screw you, Wolverine. Right. We're going to top this. So he's standing on top. He's laying on top of like 12 barrels of jet fuel. And then he blows himself up. And then we get credit sequence.
Mm-hmm. A very sexy James Bond.
Yes. I loved the credit sequence because I was like, God, this looks just like Skyfall.
Yeah, it looked beautiful.
It was great.
They probably put a good just $2 million into that.
Probably just into that. They're like, don't worry, they'll love this part.
Yeah.
And after that, don't we bounce back to where he's globetrotting and he's killing off members of this evil organization.
Another big part of the trailers that wasn't a significant part of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of speeds through that problem pretty quick. That's within the last first 2 minutes or something.
You see him in...
And then he's like in Texas and then in like New York or something like that. He comes back home. He's killing all these bad guys who are doing something, selling drugs, or they're just part of a crime organization. That wasn't too clear to me.
Yeah. It was just a big warehouse full of bad guys.
Yeah, he comes in and he has this scene where he's killing all these bad guys in this warehouse. Yeah. And he says, don't worry, this is a family movie. So think about it. In Bambi, somebody dies in the beginning of that. This movie, somebody dies in the beginning of that. And then at the end, it's everything. And it's true, it is a family movie. It's the forming of the X-Force at the very end.
Right. Yeah. And see, now that you go back through it, the writing is pretty great, actually. Because even though they're like, nah, well, we tricked you, this isn't no X-Force, they really do form the real X-Force.
At the end. But yeah, he goes and he kills all these guys, but the main bad guy locks himself in a panic room, and then he doesn't kill him. And Deadpool has to run back home because it's his anniversary, so he leaves the main bad guy. He goes back to his girlfriend, and of course there's the crazy Deadpool jokes and everything like that comes through this. He gives his girlfriend a arcade token. It's his anniversary gift to her.
Another callback to the first movie.
Yep. And then what happens is the guy that he left in his panic room finds out where Deadpool lives, comes in to kill him, but ends up killing his girlfriend instead. Mm-hmm. And of course, and I think that those scenes where his girlfriend gets killed and it's really big bombastic music and everything and very emotional acting and everything, I felt like that was like overplayed on purpose to be like, this is just like what would happen.
Oh,
so
sure.
It was like super going into it.
Sure. And have you seen all the controversy over that?
No.
The
writers killing his girlfriend?
Yeah, they're accusing them of fridging her.
Yeah. That's a Green Lantern reference, if you know that.
Yeah, because
with his wife in the fridge.
Yeah, I don't agree with that point, but it drives him for the whole movie. So it wasn't pointless.
Yeah, no.
It's the whole point of the movie is that she dies and they were gonna have a kid.
Yes. And the whole thing is that I think his girlfriend in the comics dies and comes back to life as some kind of superhero or something.
Okay.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below.
Yes.
See how I got that one in there?
Do it.
Comment, like, subscribe, all those other things.
And that'd be cool. Actually, I'm kind of bummed they brought her back.
Yeah.
I think stick with your choice. Don't wuss out on it.
The whole problem is you got to separate Deadpool from his girlfriend, because Deadpool, when he's around his girlfriend, is kind of boring and normal and everything like that. So when he's not near his girlfriend, now he's on this crazy rampage and everything.
Right.
And he tries to kill himself. He blows himself up like crazy. And he's just like bloody bits and everything all over his apartment. And then that's when I think Colossus finds him. And then he brings him back in a bag to the mansion and then puts them all back together. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad that they actually gave Colossus something to do in this movie, because in the first one he was just the joke of the movie. Yeah. And in this one he actually has a pretty good scene in the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. But when he's at the X Mansion, we get the fun scene of Colossus reading him the rules books, and Wade is like, I don't want to hear any of this or whatever. And then he just starts driving off, and I was like, oh, he's in Professor X's wheelchair.
I was like, ooh, zoom out.
Yep.
And I got a good laugh.
We got that scene with where the same joke from the first Deadpool, where he says, God, it's always you two that we see. Why isn't anybody else in here? And then it like hard cuts to a pan or something like that. Right. Cats getting on there. And then it's the whole cast of the First Class just right there.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, but it's kind of like, oh, I wish they were like older and everything like that. They were the same age as they were back then.
That was kind of weird, but I took it.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And there was another cut scene, I guess, of Deadpool labeling everything in the refrigerator like Colossus told him to.
Oh, yeah.
And Negasonic, just belittling him and telling him that she doesn't believe he's trying to be better. Mm-hmm. Which is another reason they had to kill his girlfriend.
Yes.
Because he actually does become a better person in this one. And the first one, he didn't.
He was just a jerk during the entire first one.
Yeah, and he, Colossus gave him that big speech at the end of the first one, like, you only have 4 moments or whatever.
Which he has to give in the next scene.
Yes.
Oh, and, Teenage Negasonic Mega Warhead, what is her name? Can't remember.
Suki?
Yeah, Yuki.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
That's hilarious. And every time Deadpool and her talk is hilarious.
It's,
we'll see you later.
That's the only time that like reoccurring jokes or whatever that actually paid off and got funnier every single time.
And she turned into a badass at the end too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember like what her...
She had like a electrified whip.
Yeah.
Chains
or something.
Yeah. It was cool.
But then...
And going back to what we were saying earlier,
Yeah.
the final battle was awesome.
Yes.
It was on a smaller scale, but it was an awesome battle. Okay, but we see all the X-Men. They're at the mansion. And then what happened after that?
Oh, he hugs Colossus because he's a family now.
Yes.
Because he had that dream or that vision where he was talking with his dead girlfriends or dead wife? Married or something?
Yeah, were they married?
I think they were getting married, something like that. Yeah, I think they were married. His wife. He had the vision where she told him something about family and kids and everything. And then when Colossus says, "You're part of our family now. You're an X-Man."
Yeah.
And then he hugs him and grabs his butt too.
Yeah.
and then they go to the orphanage for the mutants.
Yes, and that's it was named after another character in the X-Men universe. Sinestro? It has something to do with Sinestro, I think.
Is it Sinestro? I think that's in Green Lantern, isn't it?
Is it?
Or somebody. I had heard that too.
But
I'm not familiar enough with the comics and everything to...
Right. But that's when the boy shows up.
Yeah. Fire Fist.
Yes, and he's great. He's a great addition.
That little guy is fantastic.
I just realized he's the same kid from the Wilder People. Taika Waititi's Wilder People.
I gotta see that one. Everybody was talking about that.
Yeah, but he's hilarious in this movie. Profane. And it's cool to see a mutant with going through puberty and dealing with like emotions. And, but you find out, how awful the people at the orphanage are. Which is so great.
Yeah, and do you think that there's that scene where the kid's tearing everything up and then Deadpool, Negasonic, and Colossus show up to stop him? And then they do end up subduing him. And then Deadpool finds out that has been being abused by the people who run this place. And then Deadpool gives this whole big speech. He's like, the 4 moments in time, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and then Colossus is like, yes, he has learned. He is an X-Man now. And then he pulls his gun out and starts shooting the orderlies for the orphanage. And then they slap a collar on Deadpool that actually restrains his powers. And same thing with the kid. Do you think he did that on purpose? Because, he's just actively trying to kill himself.
And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, if he didn't have the powers or anything like that, he could just die from his cancer that he has.
Yeah. And he mentions that once he gets to the prison, just sit tight, kid, I'm going to die or whatever.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, yeah. And he was happy to do it. Huh. That's pretty brilliant.
Because then they go to the icebox.
Yes. Which was such a cool... But... It's weird because we left the movie and I was like, the story was so quick and there was only 2 really great action pieces. But then I realized I wasn't counting the icebox. Yeah. And that part was awesome. But for some reason it just didn't stay with me.
Left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that battle between Cable and the mystery of who the giant mutant in the basement is.
Yeah. And I guess that's in between those 2 scenes was when we got Cable's introduction, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they showed the flashback.
The flash forward.
Yes, yeah.
The flash forward that you see in all the trailers where Cable is standing over the bodies of his dead wife and daughter, picks up the teddy bear, and then he, bang, zips back to 2018. And then we get Matt Damon. That was Matt Damon talking about?
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
You just found out that Matt Damon and Alan
Tudyk.
Yes, he was the other guy.
See, because I know who... I was like, that's Alan Tudyk. And I didn't... I was distracted. I didn't even notice the other guy.
Yeah, Matt Damon sitting there talking about proper toilet paper technique when Cable comes back. And I don't think... Did he kill him? He might have killed him.
I think he stunned him or something.
Yeah.
Something.
And I didn't even know that until... I didn't know either of them were in that scene until afterwards. But Matt Damon was in Deadpool 2, which is so great. And Matt Damon was in Thor Ragnarok. He
Which one was he?
He was the Loki in the play. They were doing a play.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and Loki was going to be Odin, watching Matt Damon play Loki with Sam Neill as Odin.
I love how they're just bringing in all these big name Hollywood actors and bringing them down to the comic book level. Yeah. It's great.
And they're totally willing to just jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
Which comes with a bigger cameo later, which we'll get to in a minute. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he shows up. Cable's awesome.
Yes.
He's so cool. And Josh Brolin is just killing it right now as Cable and
Thanos.
Thanos, yes. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine? I was even thinking about, like, does he even know which press tour he's on at this point? Because he's doing two. He's got to be doing both at the same time. Yeah,
simultaneously, pretty much. But yeah, fantastic. Think of like the coolest super soldier from the future, and apparently in the comics, I think Cable is also has psionic abilities or something like that.
Oh, really?
Too, yeah. It's something weird because in the comics, Cable is the daughter or son of Scott. God, what is his last name? Cyclops.
Oh, I'm not sure. Scott
Summers.
Yes.
Scott Summers, and a clone of Jean Grey.
Okay.
So they're they
that's
have
who
this
Cable
kid.
is?
That's Cable. He's the son of those two characters.
That's the funniest part about when you take the comics and then make it a movie. Like, the writers of the movie strip away all the weird, bizarre
crazy
crap,
stuff. Yep.
and then give us a pretty polished. And I think that's why these stories are working, because they fix all the writing from the comics. I'm not saying that the writing from the comics is bad.
It's just you have so many people who've been writing on those characters and those stories for so many years that you see it with Star Wars too. There's so many books that crisscross and continuity and everything's out the window.
Well, I was looking at the backstory of Starscream. Is that one of the X-Force? I just did that in quotations.
Yeah, it's all, they can't see you, Charlie.
Yeah. His backstory is bizarre. He comes from, like, the Mojo planet.
Yeah.
It's like,
I thought when he was saying that during the X-Force tryouts, I was like, okay, this guy's just some crazy dude or whatever. And then he turns out to actually be an alien and everything.
Right.
All right.
He's a real character with a real bizarre backstory. And then he ends up in the blades of a helicopter. Yep. Thank God.
Thank God. He was kind of a dick.
Yeah, all of them were not that interesting. But it's weird to see Bill Skarsgård and I think that's the next point. They fight their way out of the icebox.
Should we talk about that a tiny bit?
That battle was awesome.
Yes.
It's incredible. And just how the kid is kind of bumbling his way through.
Yeah.
And like,
and
it was very cool.
And the kid has his prison weapon of choice is a pen that he has put in his prison wallet.
That's pretty brilliant too.
Good Lord.
Yeah, he's just trying to shank all these people way more powerful than he is.
He starts a fight with God, what is the guy's name? Black Tom?
Yeah, Black Tom.
Black Tom.
And then I forget how Cable shows up.
I think he just like bang.
Yeah, the alarms go off and something's going down.
And he's got his sweet like dubstep ray gun or whatever.
Yes.
And they make the first of I think 3 dubstep jokes, which is kind of outdated.
Yeah, it was a weird choice because everyone knows what dubstep is now, and they try to explain it. And, I like when it kicked on though.
Yeah,
and I love that anything in the soundtrack was either the dubstep joke or like an awesome oldie. Dolly Parton or
the Dolly Parton stuff. Was good too. But yeah, that fight in the icebox was fantastic.
It was good, and I think that was like the first one. And it took a long time to get there.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it's pretty well into the movie, and it was strange that it took so long to get there. But yeah, Cable busts in because he wants to come in and he wants to kill Fire Fist, the little kid that because he grows up to be the evil guy in Cable's future, and he kills
is he
his
real?
wife and daughter.
Is that a real character, Fire Fist? Or did they invent that? I don't know. I have to look that up.
I have no idea. Yeah. I mean, it's like there's so many comics to read
that
would be linked to all of this. But yeah, they get out of there. Deadpool, and I think the next one is putting together the X-Force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that was my biggest gripe about the movie, is that the fight at the icebox happens. It ends with Deadpool falling down the mountain into the lake. Mm-hmm. He pulls himself out, and then jump cut to him sitting there talking to T.J. Miller about needing a team.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the sloppiest transition.
Yeah.
But now it kind of makes more sense that I know that the X-Force part is just a joke.
Yeah.
I guess that's a little more forgivable, but...
And where did Cable go after that? Cable was just like, I don't want to climb back up to that thing. I'm just going to go back to the city.
I feel like they showed him at that time, too, and I was surprised where he popped up, too. I was like, how the hell did they get from this mountain location back to where they are now?
Wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being a Deadpool movie, you can forgive it a little more.
Yeah.
If that was Infinity War, you'd be like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. But yeah, we get the good scene with T.J. Miller and Deadpool putting together the X-Force, air quotes on that one. Right. And they're holding their tryouts and everything. And it was really like, did you ever see a movie called Mystery Men with Ben Stiller?
I love Mystery Men.
That movie's so good. If you listening to this haven't watched Mystery Men, please go watch it.
Because it's like almost a generation away of people, not even remembering that movie existed. And people put it down, and I love that movie.
Yeah, I don't get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're putting this team together, and they've got Terry Crews was like, what was he, the electrocutioner or something like that? And he had the power to disrupt magnetic fields. Mm-hmm. So he's on the team. Next guy comes in, and he's Zeitgeist, I think.
Yes, Zeitgeist.
Bill Skarsgård, which I didn't know who it was when I first watched it, and then I was like, oh, that's it.
Oh yeah, now I can't not see him as it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he's there. Deadpool makes the joke about his name being Zeitgeist. He said, "What your superpowers? You tap into like the pop culture reference and everything." He's all, "No, I spit acidic vomit." Oh, okay, you're on the team.
Yeah. And he's got a cool face guard, just I guess
that does
to protect
nothing.
Someone. Yeah,
as we've seen a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we get
Starscream.
Was it Shatterstar?
Is it Shatterstar?
Okay. Yeah. He comes in and Deadpool's like, well, what's your power? And he's like, basically, I'm better at everything than you are.
Yes.
Which is like his whole shtick in the comics, is that he's amazing at everything.
Right. And I mean, he looked cool, like the way they did him up. And Peter.
We got the Vanisher before that, though.
Oh yes,
he's
Vanisher.
Like, it's the Vanisher.
Yes,
and then it cuts from Deadpool and T.J. Miller to like just an empty room. And they're like, I can't tell if he's here or not, but he's on the team because he's an invisible guy.
And there was awesome speculation before the movie opened that keen-eyed people saw the parachute sitting next to Bill Skarsgård and Domino, and they caught when they were parachuting that there was an empty pack floating there.
Yeah, and then we get Domino after that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which God, I can never remember her name, but I think she's in Atlanta with Donald Glover.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Have you watched that show?
Everybody says it's awesome.
It looks
and I
awesome.
should watch it.
Domino is very cool. Very, very cool.
So, what's your superpower? Oh, I'm extremely lucky. And he's like, well, that doesn't seem very cinematic.
Yeah.
That'll be very hard to film.
Which is funny because I can't imagine it being printed as cool as it is cinematic.
Like,
it's very cinematic.
How to get lucky and everything. Her
Guns,
superpower.
Yeah.
But
it's very cool.
Okay, she's on the team too. And then we turn to average everyday guy Peter.
Who
has no superpowers. And he says, do you have any superpowers? No, I just saw the ad and I came here.
Yep.
Okay, well, you're in the team. And and then Dopender, which we haven't talked about him, he wants to be a contract killer. And so now he's working at the bar with T.J. Miller.
Yes.
And then he's in the back. And then all of a sudden, Peter is on the team. And then Dopender's like, fuck, and throws down a big old box of whiskey and everything.
Yep. And he had a good little through storyline too, trying to be a killer.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was disappointed with Peter though.
Yeah, it would have been fun if he was around for a little bit longer.
Yeah. And that's the only time we get to see Zeitgeist's power is when Peter's trying to save him from the wood chipper, and then he just belches acid all over Peter.
Yeah, because then right after that one, I think, is like when they're in the airplane and they're trying to rescue Russell. That's his name. Okay. Rescue Russell from Cable before Cable can kill him on this like prisoner transport. And they're all going back and forth and everything. So what's our name? It's like, I don't believe in X-Men. That's sexist and everything. Right. So this is 2018. We'll be the X-Force. And then all of them are like, isn't that kind of overplayed and dumb and everything? And then he yells at Peter because, like, what did Peter say? Peter's like, I don't know if I can do this or something. And he's like, Peter, you've got to man up and everything. And then he gets in really close and he's like, I'm just doing this for everybody else. It's like, I don't mean this personally.
I do love Peter.
Yeah.
I gotta say. So they all die. Horrible deaths. Shockingly. And you know, it's funny because they broadcast it so much and you don't pick up on it.
The high winds?
Yeah. There's high winds.
Yeah, and Peter, Domino said that before they jumped. She said, isn't there high winds and we shouldn't do this? And he turns around, that's enough out of you, Peter.
And then we get the second action piece.
Yep.
Trying to stop Cable from getting the convoy.
But we did get our next big cameo when the X-Force dies.
Yeah.
The Vanisher is flying down and he falls into a set of power lines that gets electrocuted. But we get a close-up of Brad Pitt's face.
Yep.
Brad Pitt was the Vanisher.
And I didn't even pick it up.
You didn't see it?
I thought I saw him, but I was like, who was that? You know, Terry said, that was Brad Pitt. I was like, really? So
it was quick, yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love to see the movie again just to see Matt Damon and really watch for Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That's incredible too, and I read that they did his cameo in L.A. or something. He wasn't
nowhere near it.
Yeah,
I'm sure they just had to take some pictures of him and then send it in or something like that.
So that was great, so good.
Yeah, and then you get Domino's sweet action.
Oh my gosh, that whole convoy sequence is so good. Just intense. It's very CGI though.
Yes.
Was very and it's so weird because that's another big thing. I know they had more money for this production, but I feel like they didn't use it in the right ways.
Yeah. Oh, and we didn't even talk about numbers or anything like that because the budget for Deadpool 1 was $58 million, and that's like an estimated.
That's like pennies.
Yeah, especially when you look at Infinity Wars, which was supposedly $500 million.
Right.
And Deadpool 2, its budget was $110, almost double that.
And that's why the original director quit, because Ryan Reynolds wanted that feel of being stripped down to the $58 million, and the original guy, what was his name? He wanted to go big. He wanted to take that money and do a bigger story. Ryan Reynolds said,
No, smaller.
Yeah, that's what worked.
Yeah.
Trying to do this on a shoestring budget. But I feel like the way they did that was weird. I feel like the money was misplaced. Yeah, and maybe that's why that last action sequence was so much smaller than the first one, because they didn't want that big spectacle.
Yeah,
but I did.
Yeah, I know, and we're the fans, and we get what we want.
What the hell? So yeah, that sequence it was awesome.
Yeah,
it just didn't look great.
It was very much so because you've got the actress playing Domino, and she's a live action character in CGI world where trucks are flipping over and all this crazy stuff is happening. You're gonna get that crazy look to it unless you're filming it at night, right, to cover up the CGI and everything.
But the sequence was cool. And it came with the big reveal of who kind of the biggest villain of the movie is.
The big bad.
Yeah.
Which was
Juggernaut. And he was
in the because he was in the icebox with Russell and with Deadpool, and he said the heaping helping of foreshadowing that the big guy in the basement. I didn't even put together, like, I was trying to think, I was like, who would be the big guy in the basement for this? Because I was like, the Thing, but he's not. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even put together that it would be Juggernaut.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise and definitely cool. And another surprise that I learned was that Ryan Reynolds did his voice.
For Juggernaut?
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds was the voice of Juggernaut. I know. I was like, who did that? Because his voice sounded awesome.
Yeah, he did a really good voice.
He looked cool.
Completely CGI character.
Oh, yeah.
Same as Colossus. But
it still worked. Like, it didn't look crazy.
Yeah.
Wasn't as polished as like Thanos.
No,
but
no,
it
no,
looked good.
Yeah, but you don't have the $500 million budget to make Thanos look that good. And then that's when Cable shows up.
Yes.
To go and fight with Deadpool because he wants to kill Russell. Mm-hmm. But what happens is in this transport, Black Tom made his way into this transport. And then Cable accidentally kills Black Tom because he gets in the way of the bullet. And this is where we start the racism joke about Cable being a racist. He's like, you killed Black Tom, you racist.
Even though he's a white guy.
Yeah, even though he's a white guy, Oh, man.
It's amazing how much humor they can infuse into the action sequences.
Yep.
Not so much for the icebox. That was just straightforward
that was just
ass-kicking.
Everybody's going down in
But
that
the convoy one was just like a bunch of jokes. And
left
sequences.
and right jokes and jokes. Like in the trailer, you see the scene where Cable is shooting at him. Deadpool cuts the bullet in half, and then he gets hit like a million times. He's like, ow! Yeah.
And even Domino's power is a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how that works. But that's great. And then Juggernaut comes out, rips him in half like we talked about.
And then the kid laughs in the theater.
Yeah, and then the little sociopathic child gets one step closer to becoming Ted Bundy.
Yep. And Deadpool is cut in half. He's laying on the floor and he's telling Russell, no, seriously, come with us. You don't have to do this because Russell's on this psychopathic rampage to go kill the guy who abused him at the orphanage. Mm-hmm. And he tells him, no, you don't have to do this. Just come with us. Just come with us. You don't do this.
Right.
And then Russell does the little, like, pull himself on the imaginary thing. That was his best joke. His best bit in there.
I would guess that was probably improvised. Just him doing it.
Probably, yeah. And he had his little, like, short shorts on. They weren't, like, full pants in his prisoner getup.
And that's when we realized that Russell is fully a bad guy at this point.
Yep. Or at least going down that path.
Yeah, especially with the sidekick in Juggernaut, which is like...
he just upped his evil game.
Yeah. And then, we cut back to the bar again. Very jarring. No, Baby Legs.
Baby Legs.
They bring the bar to his old hideout.
Because there was there was actually that torture scene of... Cable and TJ Miller's character. He kidnapped TJ Miller's character and he's like, I'm gonna do bad things to you unless you tell me what you know. And he's like, please, I'll tell you everything. He just crumbles immediately.
Which is kudos to Josh Brolin for being the absolute straight man to everything that happens in this movie. I don't think he cracks one single intentional joke.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I was kind of expecting them to actually make him more of a joke because Cable is the embodiment of late 90s macho man comic book guys, which
Terminator,
I thought
all that was big at that time.
All of that. And I thought he was going to be more of a joke, but they didn't. They kind of played him way more straight, even like the way that they kind of interact with him. Mm-hmm. I know Deadpool's like makes that joke of like, oh, you're really intense. You should be in the DC universe and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baby Legs.
Baby Legs. That was wonderful. And that's where I get mad at myself for loving a joke that they just redid from the first one.
And they say that in that scene where TJ Miller is like, you look like an avocado that had sex with another avocado. And he's like, don't get him started. All right, there he goes.
Yeah, that scene's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like it's just everyone shoved in there to be there for that moment.
Yeah.
Great callback to the first movie when he goes and finds the cocaine and the cure for blindness that he mentioned in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which you think is a throwaway joke, and then he goes and he sees the cocaine and the cure for blindness is right next to it.
Yep. But he's in there, and as TJ Miller says it, what did he say? He's shirt cocking it or something? Yeah. He's just pulling it like no pants on, no underwear, no nothing. Oh, man.
And that's when Cable and him become friends.
Yes, because Cable shows up. Because it's, what is it? Domino, TJ Miller, Dopender shows up too?
I think he does, yeah.
And they're trying to convince him that it's like, we gotta stop this guy. And then Cable shows up. Yeah. And everybody's like, pulls out their guns and everything. Yeah. And Cable's like, look, if I wanted to kill you, I would have killed you. So we need to team up to get this kid. And then
did a very good Josh Brolin, by the way.
it's like, what's a Thanos line or whatever? If I snapped my fingers, I could take out half of the universe.
Yes.
And he comes in, and I actually left at this point because I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, no.
I left really quick, and I missed his flash forward where he says what happens. And I know what happens. He says, like, this is the kid that grows up to kill my family and just be a total bad guy in the future.
And he shows up and says, I need your help.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, okay, what's going on?
And then
it's funny that you say that, because I had a friend that left during Infinity War. Spoiler alert, when the Red Skull showed up and he pushed Gamora off the cliff.
Oh, dude, that's
I know that's the worst part to leave during that movie.
Any other time you could have left.
Yes. I was like, you did what?
It's damn. Because I know there's a website that's dedicated to telling you when it is okay to leave during the movie to go to the bathroom.
Run Pee.
Probably check that out.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, Josh Brolin, Cable shows up, says, we all need to team up to stop this guy. Mm-hmm. And then I think Deadpool had another vision where he's like, I have to save the kid. This is what my girlfriend was telling me in these visions. I have to save this kid.
And those... whatever they are, visions or whatever they are, were so well done.
Yes.
That's where they put some of the money, I guess. Cause
it must have been.
The cool, liquidy wall he can't pass. Uh-huh. Every time he gets sucked out of it, it's like coming out of that lake.
It's like if you've watched, gosh, what is that one? A Way Out. No, is it A Way Out? No, that's a video game. Dang it, it'll come to me later on. It's the hypnotize
Get Out?
My God, that's it.
Are you talking about Get Out?
My brain was not working. Yeah, that scene where he's getting hypnotized.
Yes.
Get Out. He's falling into the lake or something.
It was an equally cool visual experience.
And so they decide, okay, we're going to get together. And I guess Deadpool actually tells Cable, he's like, I got to save this kid. That's my mission or whatever. And then Cable's like, I'll give you 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
30 seconds to do this.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah. And then Deadpool with his baby legs gets up off of the couch. And then it's this very rise of this music. And TJ Miller's like, you're doing it, little guy. You're doing it. He's walking all crazy and everything.
And kudos to Ryan Reynolds for having because it was all special effects. Yeah. But to know what it looked like while he's doing it, it's just brilliant. That whole scene.
Good Lord.
Which brings us into the final action piece, which came so fast.
It was a big smash cut from that to now he's got legs and he's in his suit again, and he's going to go. It's Dopender, Domino, Cable, and Deadpool in their taxi, and they're going to go get somebody to help them. And there's another racist joke where Dopender's got the Indian music on the radio, and Cable's like, could you turn that off? Yep. And then he's like, God, why don't you just say that with an Indian accent? I'm so sorry, Dopender.
But yeah, and I don't know if it came so fast because, I mean, it's literally just those 3 action pieces. Yeah. Which is kind of a bummer. Mm-hmm. I feel like the story at the beginning could have been a cool action piece, but really it just turned into the suicide and the backstory. Yeah.
But that's okay. I think the set pieces that we got were good.
They were great.
That they made.
Yeah.
But he goes to the X-Men mansion to go get Colossus.
And yes.
And Colossus is like laying on his bed pouting and everything like that because Wade, Deadpool, has been like a total jerk and didn't listen to the rules or anything like that. And Deadpool is playing Peter Gabriel or something like that. He's got the boombox up, but
Cusack.
It's oh man, so many 80s movies references and stuff. And he's like, I need your help. You're part of my family. And then Yukio shows up. Hi, Deadpool. Hi, Yukio. And Colossus says, I'm not going to help you guys. Go do it on your own. Yes. And he says, fuck you, Colossus. We don't need your help anyways. And then they go and they drive off to go fight Juggernaut and Russell.
Mm-hmm. I think that's when it set in that I was like, this is the final set piece? Just this orphanage? Mm-hmm. I keep saying that weird. Orphanage.
Orphanage?
Orphanage. Yeah. But it turned out great. And especially like the bits with like just beating the hell out of an army of pedophiles.
Yeah, an army of pedophiles.
That's hilarious. Who is left up to what? Domino? I think Domino
takes out all the orderlies and everything like that. And with her superpowers of everybody basically just kills themselves because like they're falling on like broken bottles and
that might have
like
been the most violent part.
Yeah, when the guy gets his head chopped off.
Which is another great piece, is that they established that all the dudes wearing the white outfits were pedophiles, and then they just killed them in the worst possible ways.
Took them all out. Yeah, because then like Cable was like, we're gonna fight the guys, and Cable had his sweet gun, his futuristic gun, and then Deadpool uses a brick.
Yes.
And that's when Colossus shows up, because Colossus figures like, oh, we're all family and everything. Right. This is a team effort, and he comes in and he fights Juggernaut. Mm-hmm. And what music started playing there? Do you remember what it was? Was that Dolly Parton?
No, was it?
I don't remember. But it was a really good song for the fight. And even like they were going to go fight these two big CGI guys. And even Deadpool was like, ooh, CGI fight.
Yeah. And that fight was awesome.
Yes. And that's the point where I was like, thank God they actually gave Colossus something to do in this movie instead of just, being a joke in the first movie.
Right. Well, I mean, he fought the henchman of the main villain in the first one too.
Yeah, but it was really short and he got his butt kicked.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And this one was more of an equal fight, but it was... and then that brought it full circle for Colossus, because he realized he has to fight dirty to win that fight.
Break the rules to win the fight. Yeah, he breaks a Juggernaut's finger and he's like, you commie bastard.
But that whole sequence is fantastic. And then going to fight Russell, or stop Russell from killing the headmaster of the orphanage, was brilliant as well. And that guy was creepy.
Yeah, he's just the creepy looking dude. And everything. Yeah.
And that was intense. I forgot what just turned it around though.
Do you mean the point where Wade is trying to convince Russell not to kill him?
So even in the chapel or whatever that room is, that's going down. Russell's gonna kill that dude. Then they get outside somehow, and then the turning point is that Wade puts the collar on and then sacrifices himself when they shoot at... Wait, is that right?
Because that's a little bit further on. Because what happens is at that point, because Wade tried to convince Russell, like when they first came up to the orphanage, that's when Cable was like 30 seconds. Yeah, and then he goes to convince him, and then they start fighting, and then Cable's like, "All right, this kid's dead."
You're right.
And then he tries again, and then Cable like reluctantly is like, you got another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's almost at that point where Wade is saying stuff about like, you're left alone. These people were abusing you. That's not right or anything. You need a family and everything. And I could be your friend. I could be your family.
Right.
And then the little kid, he looks like he's going to go along with it. But then he says, you weren't my friend in the prison.
Right.
And then he attacks him. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Because he didn't know that he was supposed to take care of this kid. And then he attacks him, and then... Yeah, and then at that point is when Cable gets his gun that has one bullet in it, miraculously, for the final fight, and Deadpool goes to save Russell. He puts on the collar, and then to show Russell... Yeah, he puts on the collar to show Russell that he says it was something about, like... it was something about it. I can't remember why he put the collar on.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, it was something about that. But he has the collar on, and he goes to jump in front of the bullet that Cable fires at Russell, and then he dies.
Right.
And the death scene is... I'm not going to say I didn't get glassy-eyed at this, but he was dying for like 10 minutes. Yeah. It was fun. That was the whole joke about that.
I think that's the most, like, the guy sitting next to me and I laughed together. Like that, we just both found that really, really funny. And Ryan Reynolds again is so good.
A master of this character here. Yeah. And that's when we get the final Yukio joke.
Yep.
Bye, Wade. Bye, Yukio.
And then of course he dies. He dies.
Yeah, he dies. And then Cable, who has the magical time turner, basically. He can go back in time, he can go forward in time, but he can only use it
one more time.
Yeah. And he sees that Deadpool sacrificed himself to save this kid, and that this kid isn't the monster that he is in the future.
Right.
So he goes back in time to before this whole fight happens, and he pats Wade on the shoulder, and what he actually does is he puts the arcade token that Wade gave to his girlfriend. He put it right there where he's gonna shoot him. And then we fast forward through the fight again, and then bang, he shoots him, and then realizes, you cheeky bastard, you went back in time to save me, didn't you? And then we got all that, and he says, well, Cable, you can't go back to the future now. And Cable's, the bear that he has had this entire time had like burned blood on it from his daughter. And then all of that disappears, a la like Back to the Future style.
Yes.
It disappears, and then he realizes, my family's okay. I can stay here for a little while. And then that's the formation of the X-Force.
Cut to slow motion line of heroes walking away from a burning orphanage.
That's after Dopender runs down the pedophile.
Oh, yes. You get that brilliant moment where they're all watching him, and he just has this big monologue, and he's screaming about all his evil intent still, and that he hasn't changed, and then he just comes out and attacks.
Boom.
So good.
And Deadpool was trying to stall that guy to keep him in one spot, and when Dopender does that, he's like, I could hear you driving through those bushes for the last 30 seconds. I couldn't contain myself.
Yeah. All good. Now, the credit scenes were hilarious, but I feel like they undermined everything.
Yes, they did.
Cable could clearly go back to his family now if he could talk
Wade
to
gave
Negasonic
it to him,
and Yuki. So that kind of bothered me, and she should have stayed dead.
Yeah.
Like, live with your choices. But
it is definitely a have your cake and eat it too moment. Whenever there's time travel in something, you always get that part where you get to see some scenes and then they redo it and everything.
Right. Well, I mean, and writers play with that so much.
Yeah.
They just did it on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but if Cable didn't go back to the future, Marty!
We're gonna go back in time, Marty!
They never would have even had his daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he would have never met his wife. So, I mean, but
it's
a
when you get
Deadpool
into that
movie.
stuff. It's a Deadpool movie, so it all
cares?
works out just fine. Yeah, but those end credit sequences were great. Like, especially when he goes back in time to kill Ryan Reynolds before he accepts being Green Lantern.
I would have been just okay with him going back to Wolverine Origins and killing the original Deadpool. Which is fantastic. Which, do you think they reshot footage? Do you think Ryan Reynolds had to get back into that original Deadpool makeup?
I think they took all that footage because you saw Wolverine and manipulated it, and then they just manipulated it because it was that shot from behind, where you could see Wolverine's claws, and then he just comes out and bang shoots Deadpool, and he's like, "See you later, love the movie, keep it up, Hugh Jackman."
I would have been okay with that and the Green Lantern murder.
Yeah, because when he gets the Negasonic fixes Cable's time-traveling device, and then he goes back in time and fixes all these things. I was okay with him going back to try and save Peter, because Peter lands. He's like, yeah, Peter, just walk away. He's like, what? We're the X-Force. There is no X-Force. He's like, okay, it was kind of dangerous, and then he just leaves. So.
And that's the big talk. Like, it's very ambiguous if he saved Zeitgeist and...
yeah. I don't know. He probably just went back and saved Peter.
I would guess it's just Peter.
Yeah.
Because that moment is when Zeitgeist is in the wood chipper, which was like the last death.
Yeah.
And then he's like, don't do it. So I'm sure everyone else died. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give it a B-.
Yeah, B- sounds about right. It's, I had my closing thought about it that I wrote was that a little goes a long way because Deadpool is like that friend that you really want to hang out with because they're super funny and very charismatic. But then after about like an hour or two hanging out with them, you're watching your watch and you're like, I gotta go and everything.
Yeah.
This is kind of, but yeah, I don't know if I'll go see it again. It'll probably be like on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
Way down the way.
It's like an afternoon movie that you just catch. But you should see it if you haven't seen it. You should see it in theaters because it's a lot of fun.
Should still be on the big, big screen if you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, sure. And Ryan Reynolds is just a dreamboat. I'm not gonna lie. Even when he's all deformed.
There you go. That's that. You wanna cut this one actually into 2 episodes? I thought we were only gonna talk about this for like a half an hour. Jeez, we're going on an hour now talking about it.
Here, let's cut.
Yeah, we'll cut right here. Charlie's got to go to the bathroom because he's drinking way too much. But we're gonna cut it and we're gonna do another episode and we're gonna talk about Infinity Wars. So we'll see you on the next episode.